Something unusual is happening in your life right now, and most people around you can't see it. Your life may look quiet on the outside, ordinary, maybe even slow, but beneath the surface, something powerful is unfolding, something that not everyone is meant to understand. Because when blessings begin to grow in the life of a chosen one, they rarely arrive with noise. They arrive in silence. And if you are listening to this message right now, there is a strong chance that you are in that exact season, a season where your progress is real, your growth is undeniable, but the wisest thing you can do is remain quiet about it. Not everyone deserves a front row seat to what God is building in your life. The silent season of the chosen one. Many chosen ones experience a period where everything seems hidden. You are working, growing, learning, and evolving, but it feels like no one notices. Sometimes it even feels like the world has forgotten you. But what most people don't realize is that silence is not punishment. Silence is preparation. Before anything meaningful grows, it grows in private. A seed does not announce its transformation beneath the soil. It develops quietly, unseen, and unnoticed. Yet during that silent process, something powerful is taking shape. Your life is working the same way. While others are busy showing every step of their journey, the chosen ones are often guided into seasons of quiet development. Not because their progress is small, but because it is sacred. And sacred things are not meant to be displayed to everyone. While your blessings are growing right now, if you have been feeling different lately, there is a reason for it. Your mindset is changing. Your priorities are shifting. Certain people and environments no longer feel right to you. This is not confusion. This is awakening. Chosen ones begin to recognize that their energy, their time, and their focus are valuable. They stop chasing approval and start protecting their peace. They stop explaining themselves to people who never intended to understand them. And as soon as this shift begins, blessings start growing. Not always in obvious ways. Sometimes the growth is internal first. Confidence begins to replace doubt. Clarity replaces confusion. Strength replaces fear. And slowly, your entire life begins to align with something greater. But here is the truth most people never talk about. The moment blessings begin to grow, attention begins to grow as well. And not all attention is good. Why silence protects your progress. One of the greatest mistakes people make during seasons of growth is announcing everything too early. They share their plans, their progress, their breakthroughs, hopping for encouragement. But the reality is that not everyone celebrates your growth. Some people feel threatened by it. When chosen ones begin rising, it disrupts the comfort of those who are committed to staying the same. Your progress reminds them of what they are avoiding in their own lives. And instead of being inspired, some people try to slow you down. Sometimes it happens through doubt, sometimes through criticism, sometimes through subtle negativity that plants seeds of hesitation in your mind. This is why wisdom often whispers one simple instruction to the chosen one. Move quietly. Let your results speak later. Because the less noise you make during your building season, the fewer distractions you attract. The hidden battles chosen ones face. The journey of a chosen one is rarely easy. From the outside, people may eventually see success or peace, but they rarely see the internal battles that came first. Chosen ones often grow up feeling misunderstood. They notice things others ignore. They question things others blindly accept. Their path rarely follows the crowd. And because of that, they sometimes experience isolation. But that isolation has a purpose. It sharpens awareness. It builds resilience. It teaches you how to stand strong even when approval is absent. While others rely on the crowd to validate their direction, chosen ones learn to listen to something deeper, something quieter. And that quiet inner guidance becomes their greatest strength. Signs your blessings are quietly expanding. One sign that your blessings are growing is that your focus is changing. You are less interested in proving yourself to others and more focused on improving yourself. You begin protecting your time. You value growth over attention. You become more selective about who has access to your life. Another sign is that certain relationships begin fading naturally. Not through conflict, but through distance. People who once felt connected may no longer understand the direction you are moving. Conversations feel different. The energy changes. This is not something to fear. It is something to recognize. Growth often changes your circle. And sometimes the people who cannot grow with you simply fall away. Another sign is the quiet confidence building inside you, not arrogance, not pride, but a calm understanding that you are moving in the right direction. Even when the path is unclear, even when the results are still forming, you feel a deep sense that something meaningful is unfolding. The danger of sharing too much. In a world where everyone is encouraged to broadcast their lives, silence can feel uncomfortable. But silence is powerful. When you constantly explain your progress, you give others the opportunity to shape your perception of it. Their opinions, doubts, and expectations begin influencing your energy. But when you move quietly, you remain focused. Your growth stays pure. You are not performing for an audience. You are not chasing validation. You are simply becoming the person you are meant to become. And that kind of growth is unstoppable. Because it is not built on attention. It is built on purpose. When the right time comes, it will be seen. Here is the truth that every chosen one eventually discovers. What is truly meant for you cannot remain hidden forever. You do not need to force recognition. You do not need to prove your worth to everyone. You do not need to explain every step of your journey. When the time is right, your transformation will become visible on its own. People will notice the difference in your mindset, in your energy, in your presence. They will wonder how you changed so much. What they will not see is the quiet discipline, the silent prayers, the lonely decisions, and the unseen growth that happened when nobody was watching. But you will know. And that knowledge is enough. Because the chosen one understands something powerful. Real progress does not need an announcement. It reveals itself naturally. Your season of quiet growth. If you feel like you are currently building something in silence, do not rush the process. Do not feel pressured to reveal everything. This season is shaping you. Every lesson, every challenge, every quiet step forward is preparing you for a future version of yourself that is stronger, wiser, and more aligned with your purpose. And the quieter you move right now, the clearer your path becomes. Let others underestimate you. Let them assume nothing is happening. Meanwhile, keep growing. Keep learning. Keep evolving. Because when blessings grow in silence, they grow deeper, stronger, and far more powerful than anyone expects. If this message resonated with you, take a moment right now to support the mission of Return to Awakening. Like this video so more people who feel lost or different can find this message. Share your experience in the comments and let others know they are not alone on this journey. And subscribe to Return to Awakening for more powerful awakenings that remind you who you truly are becoming. The power of moving in silence. There is a quiet strength that begins to develop when a chosen one learns to move without announcing every step. At first, it feels strange. You were once used to sharing your thoughts, your ideas, your plans, but over time, something inside you changes. You begin to realize that not every vision needs an audience. Some visions need protection. Because the moment a powerful idea enters your mind, it is still fragile. It is still forming. And when too many outside voices touch it too early, doubt can begin to grow where confidence once existed. Chosen ones slowly learn that silence protects vision, silence protects focus, silence protects energy. And the less you speak about what you are building, the more space you give it to grow. When God grows your life in private. One of the most misunderstood seasons in the life of a chosen one is the season where God begins working behind the scenes. During this time, things may appear quiet or even slow from the outside. But internally, transformation is happening. Your thinking begins to change. You become more patient, more observant, more aware of the patterns in people and in life. Situations that once confused you now become clear. It feels like your perspective is expanding. And this is not random. When God prepares someone for a greater level of responsibility, He first reshapes their character. He builds wisdom where there was once impatience. He builds discipline where there was once distraction. These changes rarely happen publicly. They happen in quiet moments when nobody is watching. Why some people suddenly distance themselves. As your blessings begin to grow, you may notice something unexpected happening around you. Certain people who were once close begin to drift away. The connection feels different. The conversations lose depth. The energy feels heavy. Sometimes they even begin treating you with subtle coldness that you cannot quite explain. This can feel confusing at first. But chosen ones eventually realize that growth changes the environment around them. Not everyone is comfortable watching someone evolve. Not everyone understands the path of self-improvement or spiritual awareness. And sometimes your quiet progress reminds others of changes they are not ready to make in their own lives. So instead of growing with you, they slowly create distance. This is not something you need to fight. Sometimes distance is protection. The discipline of protecting your energy. One of the most powerful habits a chosen one develops is the discipline of protecting their energy. You begin to notice how certain conversations drain you. Certain environments exhaust your focus. You start recognizing that your mental and emotional energy is one of your most valuable resources. And because of that, you become more selective. You speak less about your plans. You listen more than you talk. You observe people's actions rather than trusting their words. This awareness allows you to move through life with clarity. Instead of reacting to everything around you, you remain calm. Instead of seeking validation, you stay committed to your path. This calm focus is often mistaken for distance by others. But in reality, it is growth. How quiet progress builds unstoppable confidence. Confidence built through attention is fragile. It depends on praise, approval, and recognition from others. The moment those things disappear, the confidence fades. But confidence built in silence is different. When you spend months or even years improving yourself without applause, something powerful happens inside you. Your belief in yourself stops depending on anyone else. You know the effort you have invested. You know the sacrifices you have made. You know the battles you have faced quietly. And because of that, your confidence becomes stable. It does not rise and fall with people's opinions. It stands on the foundation of real growth. This is the type of confidence chosen ones eventually develop. And once it forms, it becomes extremely difficult for anyone to shake it. Why patience is the hidden key. Many people want instant recognition. They want their progress to be visible immediately. They want others to acknowledge their transformation right away. But the chosen one learns a different lesson. Patience. Real growth takes time. Real transformation happens layer by layer. The strongest foundations are built slowly, carefully, and deliberately. Think about the most powerful trees in the world. They did not grow overnight. They spent years developing deep roots beneath the surface before their strength became visible above the ground. Your journey is following the same pattern. Right now, much of your growth may still be happening beneath the surface. People may not see the discipline, the learning, the reflection, and the self-control you are developing. But one day, the results will be impossible to ignore. And when that moment comes, it will feel effortless to others, even though you know how much quiet work it required. The wisdom of letting people underestimate you. There is a surprising advantage that chosen ones eventually discover. Being underestimated can be powerful. When people assume you are doing less than you actually are, they stop paying close attention. They stop trying to compete. They stop trying to interfere. And that gives you freedom. Freedom to focus, freedom to grow, freedom to build your life without constant noise from the outside world. While others are busy trying to impress people, you are busy improving yourself. While others are chasing attention, you are developing skills, discipline, and clarity. By the time people finally notice your progress, the foundation is already strong. And at that point, nothing they say or think can slow you down. Because the work has already been done in silence, the weight of carrying a different mindset. One of the quiet struggles of the chosen one is realizing that your way of thinking no longer matches the crowd around you. You start noticing patterns that others overlook. You begin questioning habits that most people accept without thought. At first, this awareness can feel lonely. You may find yourself sitting in conversations where people complain about the same problems but refuse to change anything about their behavior. You listen, but deep inside you feel disconnected from that mindset. Not because you think you are better, but because something inside you has awakened. Chosen ones slowly realize that growth requires responsibility. It requires honesty with yourself. It requires the courage to admit when something in your life needs to change. And once your mind reaches that level of awareness, it becomes impossible to return to the comfort of ignorance. The quiet rebuilding of your identity. Another powerful shift begins happening when blessings start growing in your life. Your identity begins to change. The version of yourself that once existed slowly fades away. Habits that once felt normal no longer feel right. Certain distractions lose their attraction. Even the way you spend your time begins to change. You may start choosing solitude over noise. You may begin spending more time learning, reflecting, and building skills that move your life forward. Instead of chasing temporary excitement, you start focusing on long-term growth. This transformation does not happen all at once. It happens through small decisions repeated daily. One disciplined choice today, another tomorrow, and then another the day after that. Over time, these choices quietly rebuild the foundation of who you are becoming. Why the chosen one learns to speak less. As awareness grows, many chosen ones begin noticing another change within themselves. They speak less than they used to. Not because they have nothing to say, but because they understand something most people miss. Words carry energy. When you constantly talk about your plans, your progress, and your goals, you release energy that could have been invested into action. You also open the door for opinions, doubts, and negativity from people who may not share your vision. So the chosen one begins practicing restraint. They listen more carefully. They observe more deeply. They allow others to speak freely while they quietly gather understanding. This does not make them weak. It makes them wise. Because silence often reveals more truth than endless conversation ever could. The strength that comes from self-trust. One of the most important milestones in the journey of a chosen one is learning to trust yourself. For many years, you may have relied on the opinions of others to guide your decisions. Friends, family, society. But as your awareness grows, you begin recognizing that many people are navigating life without clear direction themselves. Their advice often comes from fear, habit, or limited perspective. And slowly, something inside you shifts. You start listening to your own inner clarity. Not impulsively, not emotionally, but thoughtfully. You weigh situations carefully. You observe patterns. You reflect on your experiences. And through this process, self-trust begins to form. Once that trust becomes strong, it becomes much easier to walk your path quietly. You no longer feel the need to explain every decision to everyone around you. Because deep down, you know why you are doing what you are doing. The hidden tests along the path. Every chosen one eventually faces moments that test their discipline. Just when progress begins appearing, situations arise that challenge your focus. Distractions appear. Old habits try to return. Sometimes even opportunities show up that look attractive, but quietly pull you away from your true direction. These moments are not accidents. They are tests of alignment. They reveal whether you are truly committed to your growth, or whether you will return to comfortable patterns that once held you back. Chosen ones who remain silent during their progress often pass these tests more easily. Because they are not performing for an audience. They are focused on the long journey, not the short applause. And that focus allows them to continue growing, while others remain stuck repeating the same cycles. The peace that comes with quiet progress. Something beautiful begins to happen when you stop announcing your journey and start living it quietly. Peace enters your life. You are no longer worried about who approves of your progress. You are no longer checking for validation from people who may never understand your path. Instead, you focus on your own alignment. You wake up with intention. You work with discipline. You reflect with honesty. And slowly, a sense of calm confidence replaces the anxiety that once came from trying to prove yourself. Chosen ones eventually discover that the most powerful form of success is internal peace. Because when your mind is clear and your direction is steady, outside noise loses its power over you. And that is when your blessings continue to grow quietly, steadily, and powerfully in the background of your life, the moment you realize you no longer fit in. At some point in the journey, many chosen ones experience a strange realization. You look around at environments that once felt normal, and suddenly they feel unfamiliar. The same conversations repeat themselves. The same habits circle endlessly. The same negative patterns continue without change. And something inside you refuses to participate in it anymore. It is not arrogance, it is awareness. You begin noticing how much time people spend talking about problems instead of solving them. You notice how easily people accept limitations that were never truly tested. And in that moment, you quietly make a decision. You choose growth. This decision often happens silently. You do not announce it. You simply start moving differently. You spend your time differently. You protect your attention more carefully. And without saying a word, your life begins moving in a new direction. Why the chosen one becomes more observant. As your journey continues, one skill begins sharpening naturally. Observation. Chosen ones start paying close attention to patterns in people's behavior. You notice who speaks with honesty and who hides behind appearances. You notice who supports others and who secretly competes with them. These observations are not made with judgment. They are made with awareness. Because when you are building something meaningful in your life, understanding people becomes important. Not everyone who smiles at you truly wants to see you succeed. Some people celebrate your progress. Others study it. And the chosen one learns to recognize the difference without needing confrontation. This quiet awareness becomes one of your greatest protections. The inner voice that guides your steps. There comes a point where the noise of the outside world begins to lose its influence over your decisions. Opinions that once confused you now feel less important. Because another voice becomes clearer. Your inner guidance. It does not shout. It does not rush you. It speaks calmly and steadily. Sometimes it comes as a strong feeling, sometimes as a quiet realization that a certain path feels right or wrong. Chosen ones often spend years learning to trust this voice. At first, they doubt it. They question whether they are imagining things. But over time, experience proves something important. When they ignore that inner guidance, life becomes complicated. When they listen to it, clarity returns. So they begin following it more often. And that quiet guidance leads them toward growth, discipline, and purpose. Why your circle becomes smaller. As your life continues evolving, another change begins to appear. Your circle naturally becomes smaller. Not because you dislike people, but because you value peace. You begin noticing that a few genuine connections are far more valuable than many shallow ones. You appreciate conversations that carry depth rather than noise. You respect people who move with integrity, humility, and discipline. And because of that, your standards for relationships become higher. Some people misunderstand this change. They may say you have become distant. They may assume you are withdrawing from others. But the truth is much simpler. You are protecting your environment. Chosen ones eventually realize that the people surrounding them influence their direction in life. The energy around you shapes your focus, your habits, and your mindset. So you choose quality over quantity. And in that decision, your life becomes calmer. The quiet discipline that builds your future. While many people search for quick success, chosen ones slowly develop something far more powerful. Discipline. Not loud discipline that needs to be announced. Quiet discipline that happens daily without attention. You wake up and do what needs to be done even when motivation is low. You continue learning even when progress feels slow. You keep improving yourself even when no one notices. These daily actions may appear small, but over time they compound into something extraordinary. One skill learned today becomes mastery years later. One healthy habit practiced daily becomes strength that carries you through difficult seasons. And because this discipline was built quietly, it becomes deeply rooted. It does not disappear when life becomes challenging. It remains steady. Why some blessings must stay private. There is wisdom in understanding that not every blessing needs to be shared publicly. Some achievements are meant to be celebrated quietly. Some breakthroughs are meant to be appreciated privately. Some progress is meant to be protected while it continues growing. Chosen ones learn that constant exposure can weaken something that is still developing. When everyone knows your next step, expectations grow, opinions multiply, pressure increases. But when your progress remains private, it remains pure. You move at your own pace. You grow without distraction. And the results eventually speak for themselves. This is why many of the most powerful transformations happen in silence. They are not designed to impress others. They are designed to transform you. And when that transformation becomes complete, the difference in your life becomes impossible to hide. The season where everything feels quiet. There is a season many chosen ones enter where life becomes strangely quiet. Not empty, not stagnant, just quiet. The noise that once surrounded you begins to fade. Fewer distractions, fewer meaningless conversations, fewer people demanding your attention. At first, this silence can feel uncomfortable. You may wonder why things have slowed down, why the excitement that once filled your life has been replaced with calm, steady days. But what feels like stillness is often the most important phase of your transformation. Because quiet seasons allow you to hear yourself clearly. They give you the space to think deeply about your direction. They allow your mind to reset from the chaos that once controlled your schedule. And during this silence, something powerful begins to form. Clarity. The chosen one begins seeing life differently. Decisions become more intentional. Time becomes more valuable. And slowly, the quiet season starts shaping a stronger version of you. Why not everyone can walk with you? Another truth that many chosen ones eventually face is this: not everyone who started the journey with you is meant to finish it with you. Some people enter your life for a season. They share certain experiences with you, teach you lessons, and then their role naturally comes to an end. This is not betrayal. It is transition. As your mindset grows, your path begins to change. The goals you pursue evolve. The way you spend your time becomes more purposeful. And sometimes the people who were comfortable with the old version of you feel disconnected from the new direction you are moving in. It can feel painful at times, but chosen ones learn that forcing people to stay in your life when the alignment is gone only creates unnecessary struggle. Sometimes the healthiest choice is acceptance. You appreciate what the connection once meant, and then you continue forward. The power of being patient with your journey. One of the hardest lessons in life is learning to be patient with your own growth. We live in a world that celebrates quick results, instant success, immediate recognition. But the path of the chosen one rarely follows that timeline. Your journey is deeper than that. You are not just building achievements. You are building character. You are developing awareness. You are strengthening the mindset that will carry you through future challenges. And these things cannot be rushed. Patience becomes a powerful advantage. While others chase shortcuts that eventually collapse, you are building a foundation that can support lasting success. The progress may appear slow at times, but steady progress always wins over rushed progress. Because when something is built slowly and carefully, it becomes difficult to destroy. Why the chosen one stops seeking approval. There comes a moment when something inside the chosen one finally shifts. The desire for approval disappears. For many years, you may have tried to prove your worth to others. You may have hoped that people would recognize your effort, appreciate your growth, or validate your decisions. But eventually, you realize something important. Most people are too busy managing their own lives to fully understand yours. Their opinions are shaped by their own experiences, fears, and limitations, and expecting them to completely understand your path is unrealistic. So the chosen one releases that expectation. You stop seeking permission to grow. You stop waiting for approval to pursue your purpose. You stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. And with that release comes freedom. You are finally able to move forward based on conviction rather than validation. The strength that comes from walking alone. There will be moments on this journey where the path feels lonely. Not because you are completely alone, but because very few people truly understand what you are becoming. During these moments, many people are tempted to return to familiar environments simply to avoid that feeling of isolation. But chosen ones eventually recognize something powerful. Loneliness is temporary. Growth is permanent. Sometimes walking alone for a while is necessary because it allows you to develop strength that would never form in crowded environments. It forces you to rely on discipline rather than encouragement. And when you finally reconnect with people who share your vision and values, the connection becomes far more meaningful. Because it is built on alignment rather than convenience. The quiet confidence that begins to show. As time passes and your discipline continues, something remarkable begins happening inside you. Confidence starts growing naturally. Not loud confidence that demands attention. Quiet confidence that speaks through your actions. You become calmer in difficult situations. You think more clearly before reacting. You approach challenges with patience instead of panic. People begin noticing the change. They may not fully understand what created it, but they can sense the difference in your presence. Your words carry more weight. Your decisions carry more certainty. And the most interesting part is that this confidence developed without you trying to prove anything. It grew silently. It formed through consistent effort, self-reflection, and the discipline to keep moving forward even when nobody was watching. This is the type of strength that cannot be easily shaken, because it was built in silence, one step at a time,